It's, oh, look, it is. It's 12 minutes past 12 on the 12th of the 12th, 12th. If I had a glass, I'd raise it, but I haven't. So anyway, congratulations.
In Derbyshire and East Staffordshire, Ian Sky on BBC Radio Derby.
And my profuse and semi-sincere apologies to the large lobby that I should have played the 12 Days of Christmas at that moment. But, you know, there's other things to do. Like talk to Joan. When you're lucky enough to be an independent person, taking yourself off to the shops whenever you want, visiting friends, family, losing the ability to do that must be devastating. Joan Clark from Borrowash was forced to pack up driving after her optician discovered she developed a serious eye problem that left her almost blind. She wasn't able to drive for 2 whole years. That was until she had 2 cornea transplants at the Royal Derby Hospital. And she's here now. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Did you drive in?
Oh, no, my husband, he's sitting outside listening.
Oh, you not left him in the car park?
He's gone out to
He
listen.
could have come and sat in the warm.
No, he's gone to listen. He
We
said
have the radio on in here, you know. If he's like, come in. What's his name?
Ron.
Ron, come and sit in reception.
No, he's be fine. He'll be warm out there.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. So, how long ago was it that you had to quit driving? Was it just over 2 years ago?
It was over 2 years now. It was November the 9th in 2009.
That was the date that you got
I went
told.
to the optician and he sent a text into Derby Royal because my eye, although it was getting worse, and he said this is the end. It got a wart on as well. Those who know Australia, it was like the man fetched the for me to look, and it looked like a wart, a big wart, you know, on the eye. So he sent in a text, and I went off fairly quickly then to see him.
And I mean, what was it that they diagnosed was the problem? Was the wart a secondary thing?
They told me a few years back that I'd got this. It's Fuchs enthelial dystrophy, and it does
That's easy for you to say.
Yes, and it does get worse, and eventually you do have to have a cornea. But even so, even though I'd been told this, I didn't particularly think it would happen, you know. But
and was it a gradual thing?
A gradual thing, yes.
And so 2 years, I understand,
Yes.
you weren't able to drive. So 2 years you were dealing with. Did it get worse in that time as well?
Oh, so, yes. I mean, the whole time I was seeing Mr. Anandan, who, of course, I've got to really say was excellent. And I had one operation done, then the other operation done. I then had a little blip where it something went wrong with one eye, only a small thing, you know, not a major thing, but it did hold me back a little bit, and I just had to keep visiting very often to see what they thought.
And all the time, presumably, what they would like to do was give you new corneas, give you the transplant.
Yes, it told me it would be new corneas. And I had quite a conversation with the lady who looked after him, who said, if one day I rang and he wasn't there, and she said, oh, he's gone looking for a thick cornea, and you don't think of them being different thicknesses, really.
So we need to find a suitable.
So he needed a thick cornea for this eye and a thinner one for eventually my left when I had that done. So I was obviously pleased he was looking round.
The mind boggles how you have to go off hunting for corneas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a serious thing, isn't it?
Well,
you need a donor, and sadly somebody.
He's obviously gone to Bristol, which I have read in the piece that I saw in the paper, which is where the largest bank in Europe is in Bristol, and that is where they go for their corneas.
And when you say bank, do you mean are they able to store them after people have
they
donated
store
their
them
corneas,
for a short time, and there's so many people wanting them, really. So, you know, I must put a plug in here that if anybody feels they can
sign up.
And I also noticed when I had my driving, the sheet for my driving licence this time, corneas is now on it. Whereas
Yes,
it
every
was
time you
never
renew.
on, was it?
No, whenever
before?
you renew now, you get the option to
That's
sign up to be
right.
an organ donor, don't
Yes.
you? And all the other
Well,
bits
I
and pieces
can't
you
go
can.
on it, so I can just say, I can't use mine, but
I'll talk about the operation in a minute, and we'll find out
Yeah.
how your eyesight is now, which clearly
Yes.
is much, much better. But
Yes.
we'll chat some more in a second. Andy Lennox, Walking on Broken Glass. That is. It's me until 1, Andy Potter this afternoon. He's got Ian Hislop on later on. I was around when he spoke to Ian Hislop, and I know he said it was a really, really interesting conversation, so I look forward to listening to that one later. That's after 1. At the moment, Joan Clark's here, Joan's from Borrowash, and had to pack up the driving because of the eyesight. I mean, to put it starkly, how close to blind do you think you felt you were at one point?
Quite close, really. I mean, if you stay in your own home and you're all right, really. But it's when you're going out
because you know where everything is.
Yes, and then when you try to get down a step, plus the fact that my hip wasn't very good, you're struggling. I'm still struggling with the hip, but I'm getting down the step easier now.
And you were looking for a cornea transplant. So it was only one eye in the first instance you had?
No, they were both, but
so
one was
both
much
done in one
worse
go?
and would be done soon, you see.
So when did you first learn that you got the operation, you got to go ahead for this?
Oh, only about a week before, not very long before at all.
Do you remember getting the phone call?
Not particularly, no. It wasn't long before. I mean, I just knew that they were going to do it as soon as they'd got a cornea for me.
A suitable one.
And it had got to be thick in this instant. And when the actual operations were different, they weren't the same operations at all. And the first one, I was put out for 2 hours, and they actually sewed the cornea in, very, very close sewing.
Yeah.
It was a long piece of material they sewed with and stuck as well.
Can't be squeamish to have this explained to you before, can you?
No. Well,
I know you were asleep.
It was an
but,
improvement.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was stuck and glued, and that was 2 hours.
And two separate operations.
And then the other operation was when that was getting a bit better, and I was called back, and that was just stuck on the left cornea. That was a thinner cornea and not obviously as bad as the other one. So
I still find all of this stuff miraculous that they can do it.
It is really,
so impressive.
it's amazing. And Mr. Anandan, I was lucky when I read the paper. I mean, when you read the notes, because he only arrived in Derby Royal 4 years ago, so he was only there a year. They weren't, I don't know whether they were doing it, but he's the man who does do them and has built up the work. So, I mean, we've got to give thanks to him for being able to do this job. And I mean, we do knock doctors but not surgeons really, because they are helping so much.
When did you? Because it takes time for it to start to improve after you've had the operation, doesn't it?
Well, it's slowly improving, and it was after Christmas when I thought I perhaps would be able to drive again. And of course, you've got also, if you've not driven through about getting on for 3 years, you've got to get back into driving again. Not really, no, because I've done it with my hips. You see, I've got back. I was 4 weeks after the first one and 5 after the second with my hips, but it is different. But you do have to. You just go slowly and then go a bit further next time. So, I mean, mainly my auntie, who's 94, is in a home at Risley. I wanted to visit her on my own without my husband, and then I wanted to go to the shops. I mean, we have, my husband and I mean, he's been really good, and he always has been, and we've tended to not worry about what other marriages do, but we do things that need doing each, and he does things and I do. And so if we went to the supermarket, and this is what I kept telling Mr. Hammond, I do want to go to the supermarket on my own, because you do. Eventually I got to 2 lists and gave him a list, and then you'd meet at the end and we'd just miss one another, where he's waving.
Yeah.
So it was a bit more confusing than it had been.
How good is your eyesight now?
Well, very good, really. I can read all sorts of things. I can read up on the board up there. I
Can't give away any trade secrets, do you? What's written on our wall? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Could be anything.
I can news in, news out, and headlines out. Yes, that's all. No, I can read underneath that. I can read all right, so that's good. And the other thing that I kept telling that Mr. Anandan was that I read such a lot, which I do. I'm not a television. I do like some television, but I don't if everybody screeches and laughs. So that cuts out quite a lot of programmes for me.
So it's nice to be able to read.
So I do read a lot, and I've still kept. Well, I couldn't read for a while. I was really struggling with lamps and magnifying glasses and everything, and it wasn't working. So that is very good to be back doing my reading. I think
doing
that's
what you
important.
love. Yeah.
Not at Christmas, because you've got so many other things.
Screeching and laughing from the family going on.
Yeah. Well, yes, although, as I say, they're older now, so that's something.
And you talked earlier on about, encouraging people to sign up and be donors, because obviously a donor is what enabled you to have the 2 new corneas.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to know exactly where those corneas came from. That's the way the system works.
I don't think it's advisable anyway.
Do you ever wonder that?
Not really. I might do now you've asked me.
Sorry.
No, not really. I suppose you've made me think.
It's quite a gift, isn't
yes,
it?
It is
to
really.
give someone.
Yes. And anything that you leave is good, isn't it, really? So, but corneas is new, and it's so life-changing, really, because if you haven't, when you sit at home and you can't do things, it makes a difference. I mean, I've had some of that over the last 3 years, where you're not, unless my husband is with me, I can't do things. So...
It's very impertinent to ask a lady her age, but they did tell me that you were 77 when you had this operation.
Yes.
Really?
77.
I thought there was a mistake.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Did you?
You seem to be in the fullness of life.
Well, I'm hoping to be, and I hope to continue a bit longer.
Get the hip done next.
Well, I hope so. I hope they don't push me off because I'm 77. I want to be in there and get it done, really. But because I do think that sometimes they think, oh, she won't last too long,
I don't think anyone could think that when they meet you, Joe. I really don't.
But I really, I'm very grateful for anybody who's helped. And I'm very grateful and I've actually been to the Derby Royal on the Wednesday with my eyes and on the Tuesday with my hip.
It's a wonderful, wonderful place with some brilliant people.
It is. It's very good, and I would advise people to donate the corneas.
Sign up, get on that register.
Yes.
And tick the box for corneas. Some people leave that bit out because they're a bit
funny.
Well,
they do.
We're going to be dead when it happens, if it happens. But people are a bit funny about eyes, aren't they? Sometimes.
And I imagine it's only a very small piece.
Yeah.
Yes, really.
Do it. Joan, thank you for coming in.
And thank you very much.
It's lovely to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
Joan Clark is from Borrowash. Thank you very much.
BBC Radio Derby's Carol service is on Wednesday the 19th of